You're looking at the best there
Austin
is.
316.
What do you guys want to talk about?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. I'm the best. I'm the best in the world.
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
We will rest in peace.
Welcome, you guys, to episode 10. That's right, episode 10. We are in double digits of this show. Welcome to episode 10 of The Source, WWE, AEW, All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
And
Mike. Yeah.
Today
we're going to be covering 4 different shows from this weekend. We have WWE Smackdown 223-24, AEW Rampage 223-24, and also you can't forget about the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which was unbelievable. A lot of things to talk about here. And after that, we will finish the show with AEW Collision 224-24. Let's get it going. Yeah. We're going to start off with Friday Night Smackdown 223-24, the go-home show. Yeah. For Elimination Chamber. Coming to you again from Salt Lake City, Utah. This was a taped episode of Friday Night Smackdown due to the intense travel to get to Elimination Chamber in Perth, which some of the superstars, Mike, they said it was like a 30-hour flight.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, that's a long time to be up in the air. Smackdown kicks off, though. We got clips of LA Knight. We got Drew McIntyre, Liv Morgan, and Tiffany Stratton all arriving to the arena earlier that day. Then the show begins. We get Bianca Belair's music. She's coming out. She's ringside for this opening match with Liv Morgan versus Tiffany Stratton. And you wonder if she's going to play a role out there. Match begins. Obviously, Bianca's at ringside, so you got to watch for any type of distraction. I'm going to say I'm really, really impressed with Tiffy time. She's looking like big time, and she just started.
Well, she's blending in to the roster, and you don't know how it's going to go anytime a wrestler comes up from NXT and comes up to the main roster.
Could be a bust, could be
it looks
magic.
like she's starting to ruffle a lot of feathers, which is going to lead to a lot of feuds.
Sure.
She can wrestle. So
it's been proven that she can go.
She's going to have a lot of great matches, so I think you're going to see her up in the big leagues for a while.
100%.
I think she's going to make it, and I think Braun's going to do good too.
Yeah. He has
not to get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I know. He has his debut. We're going to cover that coming up. But this match was good. Liv showing why she's got the experience. Tiffany showing why she's the buff Barbie, if you will. It ends up, the buff Barbie. It ends up being Tiffany throwing Liv across the ring and hitting her with a splash in the corner. So this is an impressive match. But you wonder when Bianca's going to come into play. So Tiffany ends up being outside of the ring, and she slaps Bianca. Just bitch slaps her and runs back into the ring quick before she can get her hands on her. Now, Bianca gets on the ring apron, starts distracting the referee, all that stuff. And Liz rolls up Tiff, but Tiff ends up kicking out, right? And Liv accidentally runs into Belair, like knocking her off the ring apron. And Stratton took advantage of that. She grabs Liv, rolls her up. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany Stratton, Tiffy time. She wins the match, rolling into Elimination Chamber. Now we cut backstage, and it's Kayla Braxton, Drew McIntyre getting the boos, wearing the CM Punk shirt, and hopefully getting fined again for it. He's saying that it feels like his life has led to this Elimination Chamber match. It's leading to this road to WrestleMania. He needs to do this. He won his championship at WrestleMania with no fans in the building. Almost makes you feel bad for him until you realize it's Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, at least the guy's got like a storyline going for him. You know what I mean?
He does.
So.
It's not just some meaningless thing, but needless to say, Bobby Lashley shows up and they start bickering. They're talking about how they went at it at WrestleMania and, that Bobby Lashley needs to throw some respect on Drew's name, apparently. And they both walk away kind of angry, and that leads up to the next segment, which is looks like a pre-recorded promo of Ashante the Adonis. He's in his house. Cedric Alexander's there. They're trying on different clothes and shirts. They can't figure out what to wear. Kind of confusing. Quick segment. We then move on backstage. and it's Jimmy Uso explaining to Roman Reigns how he attacked Jay during the match with Gunther and, basically ruined it for him, obviously. And Roman then asks who sent him to Raw, and Jimmy says it was Heyman. So, I guess it was the wise man who made that decision to get involved with Jay's match. And in comes Paul, and he tells Roman that Grayson Waller's here now, randomly enough, and that Roman tells him to bring Grayson in.
Which is really weird to me because of all unlikely people to be working with the Bloodline is Grayson Waller and his
what is
band
he
of,
doing here?
It's honestly, they really need to faction up on this Grayson Waller, Austin Theory,
yeah, they gotta do something
even the
with
Maverick Logan Paul. They've been
Yes.
hanging around together a lot, and I feel like
they all
should
got
strengthen
heat.
that faction right there. It could really revive Austin Theory, if anything.
Definitely, because he's the one who needs it the most.
Yeah.
After his Money in the Bank failed run.
He was a McMahon boy, so
he was,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like McMahon was really pushing for him.
He was high on Austin Theory and kind of ruined him with that selfie gimmick. And then, he beats John Cena at WrestleMania, and then nothing. We get a commercial break, and we're on to the SmackDown debut of Braun Breaker. We all have big expectations for this.
I think it's time.
Yeah, it's
Feels
time.
right.
It
Seems
does.
right. Looks right when you see him
yes.
on the screen. You know what I mean?
And
He's ready.
I really like that he came out with that. Of course, yeah, and he came out with that Steiner gear, the Steiner throwback ring gear. I thought it was all great. He's going against Dante Chen. I haven't seen much of this guy.
I didn't know they did this still. They just throw like
a jobber.
I feel like, I
That's
watched
an
a lot of
AEW thing
WWE
now.
in the 90s. You know what I mean? There was a lot of those matches where it was a
Enhancement
superstar
talent
against like some jobber that you've never even heard of before.
Never heard of him before. He's making his TV debut. Like I said, he probably set up the ring that day.
Yeah, they wouldn't even mention anything. Just,
they don't even get an entrance. They get the jobber entrance.
They're in the ring already.
Yes, they're in the ring.
They're already in the ring when the stadium's being built, and they're just standing there waiting for their opportunity.
Yep. Needless to say, this is not a close contest. Braun is just showing off. He's showing you what he can do.
Can we just say that I think it's funny that they actually did let the jobber get some
he got some offense.
I thought if you're putting a jobber in the ring, like Braun Breaker should just basically destroy him. But he actually had some moments.
The guy put in some moves. Yeah. He had some aerial stuff, some really quick stuff, and for enhancement talent, if you will, I was almost really impressed with Dante Chen. But it didn't matter. Braun Breaker was hitting Steiner lines and throwing everything out there, and he's slamming them on the mat, and it ends up he gets set up. He hits Dante Chen with a spear. You could count to 10. Your winner of his debut match on SmackDown, Braun Breaker. We then go backstage. It's a backstage interview, promo type deal with the Judgment Day. Finn Balor is, boasting about their match coming up at Elimination Chamber, saying that Bate and Dunn have no chance of beating them and taking the titles. Also making sure it's known to JD McDonough to handle business tonight, so that way they just got to pick their bones at Elimination Chamber. We get another backstage promo before the next match. It's Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro of LWO. Elektra Lopez comes in. She's telling them that LWO is dead. They're not a thing anymore. She tells them that following Rey Mysterio was a mistake, and that's what led to what happened to him. And then here comes Santos Escobar from behind, knocks them both out, telling them, this is what happens. You want to follow somebody like Rey Mysterio and keep doing the LWO thing. And I'm kind of not into this storyline, to be honest with you. Santos Escobar is not one of my favorites. I'd like to see him a little bit buried.
He's doing a good heel job, I feel.
I don't know. I'd kind of like to see him buried more on the card. I'm really not interested. I don't know why. Maybe because he took out my childhood hero, Rey Mysterio. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, but the LWO needs rivalries.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is a great rivalry here, and somehow Andrade's got to get involved in all this.
Yes,
so let's see what's
I
up,
would be into that because I would love to see Andrade El Idolo hand it to Santos Escobar.
Excellent.
Up next, we have Dirty Dominic Mysterio and J.D. McDonough of the Judgment Day versus Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate in a tag team match that's building up to Elimination Chamber to the tag team title match. This match was honestly pretty good. A lot of high-flying maneuvers and a lot of fast-paced action. Lots of boos for Dominic. Later on, Dom hits the 619, and Tyler throws Dom to the outside. Tyler is then tagged, and they double-team on McDonough, hitting a powerbomb. Tyler goes for the cover and actually gets the pin, which honestly, that surprised me. Seeing the Judgment Day lose in this fashion live on SmackDown, not handling business at all. It's interesting to see them lose one. Mommy gonna be upset.
Oh,
don't want to make mommy mad right now. After all that, the smoke clears. Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller are now backstage, giving each other
a trio.
Oh my God, I know. Giving each other props. And like we spoke about earlier before we started the show, what kind of faction would that be? The three of those guys.
It'd be cool.
It would be. And in comes KO, though, and he's in super rage mode lately. I love what he's doing. He tells Logan that he hopes somehow that he brings the Knuckles into the chamber. Owens walks away, and Logan Paul asks them why they didn't just jump him. You know what I mean? And in comes the wise man, Paul Heyman, who asks if that was Owens, and he tells them that he never liked him to begin with. So Paul Heyman was never a fan of KO, I guess. He tells Grayson that Roman will now talk to him. The tribal chief will see you now. We now move to Dakota Kai, who's backstage in some pain. She's with Nick Aldis, a WWE official, and that kind of transitions into the next match. It's the Street Profits with Bobby Lashley and B-Fab versus the AOP with the Final Testament. And this match, pretty powerful. A lot of powerful guys in it. But you also have, guys like Montez Ford, who's got the power, but he's also got the quickness and speed, which I like that. It was close. We had a lot of outside action going with the Final Testament members, and the match kind of get blown up. They end up power bombing Montez Ford really hard, and Razar of AOP goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. Your winners are the AOP.
And they really did dominate that match at times.
Yeah, it made them look. It kind of made Lashley and the Profits look bad.
Yeah, I mean, them coming into it, the mix here. You saw Lashley coming in with the Street Profits and the new thing over there. They haven't even chosen a name for it yet.
I know. We thought it was the Pride, but they're still saying, the Street Profits with Bobby Lashley.
And then this other faction pops up, the Final Testament.
Yeah, and they actually got some traction.
Seem so much more put together and solid than them.
And now that they've introduced AOP into it, it's really getting interesting.
Yeah.
We're backstage again, and now we're back to Dakota Kai. Her right leg is in some serious pain. Bailey shows up, and she asks Aldis and the doctor if they can just have a minute. She asks Kai what happened, and she tells Bailey that Damage Control attacked her, from behind when nobody was around. And this is her leg that she just had the ACL surgery on, and, this could really not be good for Dakota Kai. Bailey just blames herself and tells Dakota that they won't get away with this. And, she's like, I got your back.
That was what needed to strengthen them together, I guess. Because Bailey was very on the fence until this moment. So this was a turning point, a defining moment in this. Is it a trick? Because you didn't see it go down. You didn't see them. You know how this goes.
Think of that.
We've seen this a lot lately, right? With MJF and AEW. A lot of different things, honestly.
Yeah.
You saw it in NXT with Trick Williams and Carmelo. Carmelo had attacked him, and he just finally came clean. So it was him months later. Could this be the same kind of scenario where Dakota Kai didn't get beat up?
She's just pulling the wool over her eyes.
How do I get Bailey's trust back? Ooh, fake
injury. That. Boom. Done.
We'll see how this unfolds. It's going to get interesting. It's going to get juicy. I really hope that Bailey wins at WrestleMania.
Me too, man.
But we'll see.
She needs this moment. But to wrap that segment up, she then tells Bailey that they're going to make Damage Control pay. They're going to pay for this. We now get our moment backstage. It's Roman Reigns, it's Paul Heyman, it's Grayson Waller. Roman tells Jimmy to move out of the way. Grayson sits down, and the tribal chief looks at him, and he says he's got something really important to tell him, but he can't say it out loud. It's for his ears only, and I really, really wonder what he whispered to Grayson Waller right there.
I really hope it amounts to something.
Right, and not just another, hey, we're going to throw you for a loop with this type thing. Let's actually, tie it all in together. And so he looks at Grayson Waller, and then we cut to the announce team, and we get a segment backstage. It's Bobby Lashley. He's in the trainer's room, the doctor's room, whatever you want to call them. His right elbow's all taped up. In comes Drew with a smile on his face. He's all proud of what he did, and he tells Lashley, Drew actually tells Lashley he's going to pray for him. Like, this Drew McIntyre's on a whole nother level.
This is
right
funny
now.
Because now he can say that. Now after the whole promo where he said he prayed
for this
I
to
prayed
happen
for
to
this,
and it happened.
And all that.
Yeah.
Now he can just tell people, I'm going to pray for you.
I'm going to pray for you.
And that means so much.
You don't want him to do it, apparently, because, he's like Nostradamus over here. Whatever he's praying for is coming true, and we don't like it. We now move on to the main event of Friday Night Smackdown. It's, you guessed it, Drew McIntyre versus everybody saying L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And during this match, we have pretty much everybody from the Chamber at some point, everybody in the Chamber match. Logan Paul's on commentary. We got KO out there. Bobby Lashley ends up coming out, even though he just got hurt by Drew. And you kind of have the feeling that this match is just going to go south due to all of the outside participants. And it does. We wanted to see an LA Knight win here. That did not happen. It was Drew McIntyre by disqualification. And after that, just all hell broke loose. It was like a preview for the Elimination Chamber match. Everyone's hitting their finish, this, that, and the other. And, there's one guy that wasn't out there yet. It was Randy Orton. And he came out of nowhere and hit that RKO on Drew.
Which that seems to be the theme.
Yes, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Trademark that. I'm sure they already did. But, we then get that RKO out of nowhere. Crowd pops for it. Randy looks like his back is broken every time he does an RKO. Is he selling it, or do we have to call an ambulance for Randy Orton?
And lo and behold, SmackDown is finished, and it finishes with the perfect setup for the Elimination Chamber the next night. Well, not really the next night, because it was probably taped the week before, right?
It was, yep.
But really hours away from SmackDown airing, Elimination Chamber aired.
And that's going to wrap up the SmackDown Live portion of the Source WWE AEW All Things Wrestling podcast. We now move on to a lightning round of AEW Rampage.
Yeah.
Friday night. Let's go. Match number 1 for Rampage. It's Penta El Zero, Commander, and Brian Keith, the Bounty Hunter, versus Private Party, Matt Sydal, versus Top Flight in Action, Andretti. And this was a pretty cool match. It was a trios type tag match. A lot of good action here. Outcome being Penta grabs this... He hits this Fear Factor pile driver type grab. I thought it looked really dope. He hits Sydal with that. That's going to finish the match. 1, 2, 3. Your winners, Penta El Zero, Commander, and the Bounty Hunter, Brian Keith. We cut backstage. It's Saraya and Harley Cameron. They're being interviewed by Renee Paquette. Being asked about Ruby Soho, and Saraya starts flipping out, saying she doesn't give a shit about Ruby. They're not friends anymore, and she's saying she actually wanted to hook Ruby up with her brother, who is now an AEW wrestler, Zach Knight. Saraya's brother, Zach Knight, steps into the frame, starts looking at the camera all weird, and Saraya ends by saying things are going to get spicy around here in AEW. Moving along, match number 2, we have the Young Bucks in their heel prime, you could say, versus 2 jobbers that I've never even seen before. Mike, their names are Johnny Lyons and Cappuccino Jones. Okay?
Yo,
Cappuccino
Jones, man.
Cappuccino Jones, and he was not Italian. I'll just tell you that. Very, very quick
espresso.
Very quick squash match. The Young Bucks hit their finisher, which they are now calling it the Tony Khan driver. To make matters worse, it's now the Tony Khan driver. 1, 2, 3. Winner, Young Bucks, and they send Johnny Lyons and Cappuccino Jones packing. The feed cuts out momentarily, and we return to Sammy Guevara. He's laying boots down to Powerhouse Hobbs. They have this rivalry going on right now. Sammy's got a chair. He's hitting Hobbs across the back with it, shots to the gut with it, but Hobbs actually eats it. Get up, spine buster to Sammy. World's Strongest Slam, and Don Callis' family is looking scary strong right now. We then pan to Sky Blue. She's pacing back and forth. She's in a really dimly lit area backstage, really dark and grungy. She's not happy. She's freaking out. Julia Hart then shows up, TBS champion Julia Hart of House of Black, and tries to, talk her off the ledge, calm her down a little bit. But Blue wants somebody to grow some balls, she says, and, she's looking for a fight. Match number 3 of the night, we have Anna Jay versus Mariah May. Both really good in-ring competitors. I really enjoyed this match. It was high-paced. It was exciting. Both of them really had, they really stood a good chance, but it ends up being Mariah May. She hits that May Day, and that's going to put her down for 3. 1, 2, 3. Your winner is Mariah May. Now we see Renee again in the back with Ruby Soho and Angelo Parker. Renee is asking Ruby how their date was. Ruby said it was really great. And, Ruby says that, she's talking about Saraya now, about her brother that wanted to be, she wanted to hook them up. She says he's the poor man's Tom Hardy, talking about Saraya's brother, just dissing him. And, they're saying they don't care about what Saraya is saying. They're happy. They're dating. And they actually don't have time for this because they're about to go on another date right now. So they leave and cut off camera, which brings us right down to this main event match. It's Roderick Strong with the Undisputed Kingdom versus Jake Hager, formerly known as Jack Swagger, in the WWE, and he's with Hornsby, the mascot. Match is okay. Not me personally, I'm not a huge fan of Roddy Strong or even Jake Hager for that matter, but they put on a decent match. Power moves, all that good stuff. And then we see Orange Cassidy. He comes out from backstage because Jake Hager helped him the week before. So Freshly Squeezed comes out, and he's kind of returning the favor. You know what I mean? And Jake Hager hits the Hager Bomb, which I thought was going to end this match. It was actually a 2 count. And the Undisputed Kingdom gets some distraction going on. They're beating up Orange outside of the ring. And Roderick Strong hits that running knee to the face of Jake Hager. 1, 2, 3. That's the end of AEW Rampage this week, guys. We're going to roll right on to the Elimination Chamber in Perth. And it's here. The time has finally come. We've been waiting for this event. It's Elimination Chamber time in Perth, Australia, the home of Rhea Bloody Ripley. And first match of the night, we get a banger right off the rip. It's the Elimination Chamber, women's Elimination Chamber match. We don't have to wait to find out who's going to WrestleMania. It's the man, Becky Lynch. It's Tiffany Stratton, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, the EST, Bianca Belair, and Naomi. Naomi and Becky start the match. They're going back and forth, and Becky's really looking good. And I don't know if you noticed, she had some Scott Hall-inspired gear going on the Elimination Chamber.
Absolutely. I felt
really
like
she's
that. Really, she's really blossoming again.
She is.
Rebirth for Becky Lynch. This has got to be her last real big run they're looking at right here. And
it's set up to be that way. Time waits for nobody. She's definitely coming close to one of her last runs, I'm sure.
She came out peacocking. That's all I can say.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. And, the pods are opening. We're getting more competitors now. It's Tiffy time, and she's just going ham. She was looking really good. I don't know if you noticed, but the whole crowd was chanting Tiffy time.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to be a heel. She's supposed to be a heel, and she's just going over so good. She hits a hell of a swanton bomb off of one of the pods onto everybody in the match, and that was super impressive to me. And we're getting big spots. Once everybody's in the match, it's like complete chaos. And Raquel Rodriguez, you got to give her props here because she was going through some kind of medical flare-up during this time in Perth. If you notice, she came out, no makeup on. Her face was a little swollen, but she did not let that stop her. She came out and she went full beast mode in this chamber match, and props to her.
Yeah, she did a great job. You didn't notice any kind of physical body.
No ailments, yeah.
Yeah, like she was doing all her moves and she was moving
everything
properly.
Looked good.
It was just basically the face when she came out. You were like, wait,
okay.
Did they put a body double in? Oh, wait, no, it is Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah, just zero.
Or Raquel Gonzalez.
Whatever Triple H wanted to call her.
I'm never going to forget that.
Dude, I know. And the fact that he didn't even acknowledge it was the best part.
No, they could have at least bleeped it out or
I
something.
know. Continuing on, we had a banger of an Elimination Chamber women's match. Becky Lynch, though. Becky Lynch, she knows what needs to be done. She puts it away. She's going to WrestleMania, Mike. This is it. It's Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania.
For the Women's Championship, the WWE Women's Championship.
The Women's World Championship. Becky has one last chance, it looks like, to take this thing home at WrestleMania. And I know she's going to stop at nothing to do it. We will see her pull out all the stops in this WrestleMania match. So good for Becky. Moving along, match number 2 of the night, we have Finn Balor and Damian Priest. The Judgment Day. They're without R-Truth because he actually went to Austria. You know, I was thinking he might have showed up at first, but then I heard that he went to Austria instead of Australia, so that counts him out.
Yeah, there were memes all over the internet about it. It was very funny to see that. But let me just say right now that I was really not high on this tag team of Tyler Bate and
same here. And Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne. I really honestly was like, could we do a little better? You know what I mean? But I will say they put up a great fight.
They shut me up. I'm not going to lie.
I still don't believe in them as a tag team championship team.
But it was an entertaining match, you know, and they delivered when they were supposed to. I'm not going to lie. They really did. Tyler Bate was looking strong for a little dude, you know, picking up these big guys. And I believe we got a razor's edge out of Damian Priest, though.
I was very happy to see that. It was a great team effort on that move. He did the razor's edge. And then the coup de grace was done
off the top rope. And he nailed that one, too.
And,
nailed it.
Oh, he did.
And, you know, that seals the fate.
It was an easy 1, 2, 3 after that, but let's not negate the fact that, you know, this was a great match. Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne had some near falls that really seemed like they might go their way.
Yeah,
you really
Pete Dunne with
head
the...
like, oh, wow, are they going to do this right now?
Seriously.
So, you know... they kept us on the edge of our seats when it was needed, but for the most part, the Judgment Day dominated this match, and as we said, it was the razor's edge into the coup de grace for the 1, 2, 3, and that was excellent.
Moving along, we now get the long-awaited episode of the Grayson Waller Effect live in Perth. Grayson Waller comes out to a huge pop. He takes an Australian flag from a person in the crowd, and he's just running around with it, having a good time.
Biggest pop of Grayson Waller's
100%, dude. He'll probably never get another pop like that.
Never.
And he ends up doing a shoey outside the ring again, and you know what I mean? People are just loving him. Only because he's in his hometown.
I don't understand the whole shoey thing. Why would you want to drink anything out of your shoe?
Yeah, it sounds disgusting.
I get that when I see him do it, it seems like they're doing it like Logan Paul did it out of a brand new shoe when he came out. Or
that makes
like
more sense to me.
Grayson Waller, I'm sorry.
Yes,
he came out.
It was
and
Grayson.
There was actually a UFC fighter in the crowd, and they did it together.
Yes, they handed them the shoe.
It was brand new shoes, though.
Brand new shoe.
I get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but are you going to take your shoe off and put beer in it and drink it?
Totally
can't
not
imagine
okay
that's
with that.
Good for your self.
Definitely not. So they're all set up in the ring now. It's the Grayson Waller Effect, probably the biggest episode he's ever had of this talk show. And, you know, they introduce the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Crowd's going nuts for him. They're loving him in Perth.
They're singing his song.
Oh, yeah, they're singing his song. The visionary, the revolutionary Seth Rollins. And,
the visionary.
Yes, the visionary. He comes out, you know, crowd's popping. Then we get the big boy pop. We get Cody Rhodes. And the whole place is singing his song. You know, his pyro budget must have been in the 6 digits because when he hit that whoa, the amount of pyro that went off was absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, that's kind of an understatement, honestly. They pan back and there's literally fireworks going on outside the stadium with the top off. Probably one of the biggest entrances I've seen in the WWE in a long, long time.
It was really impressive, yeah, and it's
they're
Cody
building
Rhodes.
They're building them up.
Yeah, you gotta. He's got the biggest match of his life.
They gotta ride
coming
this
up
now, and I think they're doubling down. I really do.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you got Theory in the ring as well. There's some tension in the ring with Theory and Seth and Cody, and they're going over the whole bloodline thing, and Cody's just had enough, and he's calling out Rock right here on the microphone. He says he wants to fight The Rock. Anywhere, anytime he wants to fight him, and Seth is like, dude, just so you know, the bloodline, they fight dirty. He's not going to be alone.
I don't see him fighting The Rock one-on-one. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. I think this is a toe in the water, step forward. Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes versus The Rock and Roman Reigns.
Agreed.
I think this is where it starts. We'll see. I mean, if he does end up having something where he's going one-on-one with The Rock, I don't know where they go with that. Does he beat The Rock?
Yeah, right.
Does The Rock beat him? I don't know.
That would really put a damper on his story right now.
What makes most sense in my mind is a tag
team match.
And it seems like since Elimination Chamber already happened now, that it's going to be a night one of WrestleMania.
Night one of Mania is a big possibility.
It won't be the headline match either, I don't think. It'll be mid-card match. Tag team with those four kicking it off, or being in the middle, and we'll see either a Rhea Ripley or maybe a Seth Rollins headliner for night one.
I can agree with that 100%. Now it is time for the men's Elimination Chamber. We're going to find out which dude here is going to WrestleMania against Seth freaking Rollins. It's Drew McIntyre. It's LA Knight. Yeah. It's KO, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, the Maverick. We also got Bobby Lashley and Randy Orton. Now, to start this match, we had Drew McIntyre and LA Knight. LA Knight thinking he can get a little bit of payback for what happened. Yeah, let him talk to you. For what happened on Smackdown against Drew, with all the chaos and turmoil going on. And as time's going by, Logan Paul is in a pod, okay? And there's cameras and microphones in the pod. And he has a Sharpie on him. And he starts drawing on the pod. He drew a stick figure of KO that looked like the fattest stick figure I've ever seen.
Yep.
And, really, really entertaining stuff. Which later on, then, when they're finally all out of the pods, KO ends up just destroying Logan Paul, putting him through that pod, smashing his head against it. He made him pay for that Sharpie drawing for sure.
Yeah. I mean, even better than that was when Bobby Lashley speared him through.
Oh, that was nasty.
that
was nasty. It's plexiglass, yes, but you still got to hit that with some force to go through it, and
pop it right off.
It was not a very good landing for sure.
Yeah.
You start to think who's gonna win this match though, and it's getting close.
A while till we got a pinfall in this.
Yeah, it was. And, I've watched a lot of wrestling in the last 24 hours, and I don't remember who was eliminated first, but what really, really bothered me was what happened with LA Knight. He's looking good. You think he's got a chance, and then out of nowhere, it's AJ Styles. He flew to Perth just to do this. He wasn't on the bill, didn't have a match on the card. He comes out with a steel chair and just ruins.
It's the season of setting up rivalries for WrestleMania.
Yes. He comes out and just ruins LA Knight.
He probably hit him about 10 times.
Oh my God, I know, yeah. And LA Knight's just out. He's not moving. He gets eliminated, and God damn it, AJ Styles. Couldn't you mess with somebody else? Do it to Bobby Lashley or something. It had to be LA Knight, but it happened. We can't take it back. We can't change it now. So all we can do is just, look ahead and see what they have planned for this LA Knight and AJ Styles rivalry.
Well, it got LA Knight eliminated from this one, which was sad.
It was.
Sad to see.
Didn't want to see it. Nah.
It left Logan Paul in the ring as the third to last.
He was
person,
one of the final
which is
three.
Interesting.
Yes, yes. But what happened then? He takes out the infamous brass knucks, and you're like, oh okay.
He breaks out the brass knucks. He does the 3 pumps, and then all of a sudden,
RKO out of nowhere.
Oh
my god!
Field RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then the 1, 2, 3 right there.
Yep, Randy
and
put
he seemed kind of mad
away.
about it. Comes back in the ring with the knucks, knocks out Randy Orton, and then McIntyre. 1, 2, 3
gets the win.
Gets the victory. Very dirty victory.
Very
for a dirty man.
Yeah, man. Like you said, dirty victory for a dirty man. McIntyre's going to WrestleMania to go against Seth freaking Rollins. World Heavyweight Championship on the line, and at Drew's celebrating, and during this, it looks like he even got some of Cody's pyro budget going on. You know, we had more fireworks going on outside the stadium. It was looking really intense. Drew got his moment, and he's getting his WrestleMania moment. Now it is main event time, Elimination Chamber, main event. It is the irresistible, unstoppable force, Nia Jax versus Rhea Bloody Ripley. She's at home in Perth, Australia. And I actually found out over this weekend that Nia Jax was born in Australia. Did not know that.
Yeah, she did say that, but it didn't. I think she said Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, and Rhea was kind of following up with that, saying, good, because we wouldn't claim you here anyway.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, the match begins, and it's just David versus Goliath at one point. Nia is just ragdolling Rhea, showing her that, you know, she came to play. She's not playing around here. You know, the women's championship is on the line, and Nia Jax is looking scary good, dude.
She's looking good, but her gas tank runs out. You know what I mean?
Yes, she did end up gassed. You know, she hit a few big moves. She hit the Annihilator on Rhea Ripley, which is that like that bonsai drop from the second rope, and where she just sits out on her flat. And you know, that was really close, very close pinfall there. Rhea Ripley though wasn't having this. She attempted a riptide, didn't work a few times, you know, but she's hanging in there. Rhea just has no quit in her. Nia Jax is hitting big leg drop after big leg drop, and the crowd is on Rhea's side. They're pumping her up. She gets her up for this riptide, slams her down in mommy fashion with the pin. 1, 2, 3, and still Women's World Heavyweight Champion Rhea Ripley. She goes and celebrates with her family.
Yeah.
And the crowd.
It was a long celebration.
It was.
Huge pop. Maybe the biggest pop from the crowd I've ever seen for a female wrestler in my entire life.
Massive.
And I get it. It was in her home country. But all things considered, wildly impressive. Rhea Ripley, keep this run up. You're doing great.
Oh, yeah, man. You know, everyone's got to be proud. Her family in the crowd, Triple H, everybody in the back. Even Dominic Mysterio, I bet you, is proud. And
did you see in the match how she did the chest shake and the frog splash off the top rope?
Rhea Ripley had to pull out some unorthodox offense here. And that was probably the first time I've seen her do a frog splash like that. And she nailed it. She had full extension.
It was kind of goofy looking for her to be doing it.
For her, you know, props to her.
Cool. It was cool.
I was definitely into it. You know, it was not like Eddie Guerrero's version or even Dom, who does a really good one.
Let's touch back on that riptide, really, because she riptide Nia Jax, and it wasn't the prettiest, but it
got the job done.
Got the job done. It looked good enough to satisfy me.
To pull back the curtain a little bit, you know, Nia had to jump up with her and help her out, you know, because she's a big girl. But you know what she was able to do to sell that riptide and make it look good enough for Rhea. You know, it was impressive.
So now at the conclusion of the Elimination Chamber, we now have all 4 of our WrestleMania matchups, big matchups.
Oh, yeah, big
defined
ones.
Now. We have Cody Rhodes versus the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion. We have Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. We have Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Women's World Championship. And we have Bayley versus Io Sky for the other women's world
the Smackdown Women's Championship. That's
whatever
like the redheaded stepchild right now.
We were just talking about this.
Yes, until Bayley gets that title, it's the redheaded stepchild at the moment. You're not topping Rhea Ripley's
Io's
mental
done nothing
run
for that title.
Nothing.
It's almost,
nothing.
Maybe it's a marketing thing. You know what I mean? Maybe
it could be.
You have Io as a champion with a low pop for a while to elevate that other title to new heights. I don't know.
The thing is with Io Sky, she can wrestle. You know what I mean? She can wrestle, but they haven't really let her display it much. You know, she's cutting a bad promo, you know, so, you know, she would need a talker, you know, she would need a voice or something like that. But, you know, it's her match to lose at WrestleMania for sure. That's going to conclude our coverage of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. All in all, very good pay-per-view, but we're moving along here. We're moving along to AEW Collision, Saturday night, 2/24/2024. The opening match on AEW Collision, match number 1 of the night, is Sammy Guevara versus Powerhouse Hobbs in a no DQ match. And when they said no DQ, they really meant it for this match. We had 5 or 6 tables. We had ladders. Sammy Guevara hit a ridiculous swanton bomb off of like this Jeff Hardy ladder. It was like 15, 20-foot ladder.
Knocker, if you would say.
Absolutely. Good old JR would definitely say that. You know, really, really good no DQ match, which ends up being, I would say, close to a 5-star match. They really laid it all on the line here. You know, everything looked well executed. But needless to say, Powerhouse Hobbs, the powerhouse that he is, hits that world's strongest slam that he stole from Mark Henry. I'm not going to forget about that. But he hits that move to Sammy through a table to get the win. 1, 2, 3, your winner, Powerhouse Hobbs. We then cut backstage to the Blackpool Combat Club. It's Moxley. It's Claudio. They're talking smack on the FTR boys once again. This all goes back to the week before, you know, with the time limit draw, and later on in that show, FTR is now challenging them to a match at Revolution, and guess what, guys? BCC has accepted that challenge. We are now getting that banger tag team match at Revolution next weekend. Match number 2 of the night, FTR Top Guys versus Shane Taylor Promotions. Not the caliber of a match that we had the week before with the BCC, but all in all, it was pretty good. You know, anytime you see FTR in the ring, it's always a treat for sure.
We love them. We love them.
Yes.
Top Guys.
Top Guys out because it was a blind tag to Dax, and they had a powerbomb neckbreaker combo off the top rope to finish this match. Your winners, Living Legends, Top Guys, FTR. And after the match, FTR is cutting an in-ring promo post-win, and Dax is saying, to be a king, you gotta kill a king. So that's a shot at the BCC.
Ooh, that's a big
for
one right
sure.
there.
Match number 3 of the night, we get Thunder Rosa versus another jobber, Lady Bird Monroe.
Gotta love the jobbers lately.
Yeah, lately, man. There's a lot
in
of
both
them.
sports, really. In both WWE and AEW.
Yeah, and both companies, they're both using them right now. Thunder Rosa needed this match, though, to, you know, kind of get her feet wet again. They haven't had her around as much, but she was going against this enhancement talent. Lady Bird Monroe was her AEW debut, and she didn't stand a chance. Thunder Rosa ends up hitting that Tijuana bomb. This one's over. 1, 2, 3, your winner, Thunder Rosa. And after the match, we get a backstage segment with Renee. She's back there with Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, and Stokely Hathaway. Stokely is saying sorry for last week, and he actually almost called somebody a hoe, but they had to stop him. They had to stop him. And Statlander says, you know what, Sky Blue? You're looking for a fight? You want somebody to grow some balls? I will fight you next week on Rampage. So we got that to look forward to. Match number 4 of the night. It's Jay White, Daddy Ass, and Colton Gunn from the Bang Bang Scissor Gang versus the Iron Savages. Scissor Gang looking good once again. You know, this tag team or trio, whatever you want to call it, this faction is really, really crushing it right now.
Very exciting faction, very entertaining. You know, it's funny to see, Daddy Ass. You know, Billy Gunn, whatever you want to call him.
In his 60s out there killing it.
You know, he's relevant, and that's
extremely
awesome,
relevant.
You know?
so relevant that when they did a DX reunion, in the last couple of years, he didn't show up because he was holding that daddy ass character down. But speaking of him, he hits the Famouser to Boulder, flying elbow to the back by Jameson, and then Switchblade Jay White comes in, nails this Blade Runner. 1, 2, 3. Your winners are the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. And after the Scissor Gang leaves, we go backstage with Lexi Nair and Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson's talking up his main event match with Akiyama. And, he's saying he really respects his opponent tonight and that he's a great wrestler, but that he doesn't respect Eddie Kingston. And, he's coming for him at Revolution. He's going to take the title. He's going to embarrass him. And, only Bryan Danielson can back up that kind of talk in the ring, that's for sure, which then moves us along to match number 5 of the night. It's the Bounty Hunter, Brian Keith, versus Malachi Black, his first singles match in oh my God, could be close to a year. They finally get him in a singles match, and these two guys are really going at it. Bounty Hunter, who recently signed to AEW, is actually really impressing me. He's really good in the ring. No matter, though, because Malachi Black just uses the end. That really, really tough kick.
He's impressive.
He is, man. And WWE dropped the ball on him when he was Aleister Black. And,
I don't know if you could say that they dropped the ball or that they don't have any room.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, they're stacked. They're stacked.
Yeah. I'd rather see wrestlers go over to AEW and thrive than stay stuck in the mid to undercard
for sure.
level. You know what I mean? In WWE.
Yeah. Malachi Black, he's proven that he's come to play. He wins this match with the end. He puts down the Bounty Hunter. Malachi is he's gassed, he's tired, he's celebrating his win, and the lights go out, like as if the House of Black were about to show up, but he is the House of Black. So what's going on? Lights come back on. It's Mark Briscoe with a kendo stick. And the rest of the House of Black shows up. Brody King runs out quick. Briscoe's got a spike, the same spike that Julia Hart used to cut him open. He misses Black with it and ends up, spiking the turnbuckle, and it's just stuck in the turnbuckle. And then they end up hitting that black mass on him, and he gets hit with the Dante's Inferno, and Briscoe's just laid out. So I guess we'll have to keep tuning in to see what happens there with that story. Match number 6 of the night is Serena Deeb versus Lady Frost. Lady Frost, this is my first time seeing her. She kind of looked like she was straight out of a Mortal Kombat video game, Sub-Zero style. I don't know. The match was okay. It wasn't anything to rant and rave about. Serena Deeb puts that single leg Boston Crab on Lady Frost. Frost taps out. Your winner is Serena Deeb. She then takes the mic after the match, and she's she's saying she's going to bring back the W into AEW. She's going to bring back the wrestling and put wrestling back in All Elite Wrestling.
Gotta love these promises. You better back it up.
Yeah, right, man, because those are some bold words. But, we'll see what happens there. And now it's main event time on Collision. It's the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, versus Jun Akiyama. And I've never seen this guy wrestle before. He's one of these talents, I believe, that they're bringing in from New Japan. And apparently he's super respected. But, I gave him a shot. I watched the match. Eddie Kingston is ringside doing commentary on this. And he's really praising Akiyama hard. And the match is going. Lots of running knees and exploder suplexes. And, a lot of chain wrestling, mat grappling, submissions, all that good stuff. All in all, it was a pretty eventful match. Especially for the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. He hits that knee, and no one gets up from that. It's 1, 2, 3. Your winner is Bryan Danielson. But now,
the Dragon.
Yes, the American Dragon. But now, the show's not over yet. Danielson is staring down Eddie Kingston outside. He shakes the hand of Akiyama, out of respect. Danielson then flips Kingston off, and Akiyama slaps him in the face for the disrespect because, they're boys. They're tight. and Kingston wants to be just like this guy. Kingston charges for the ring and just grabs Danielson. He's taking him down, but here comes Claudio. FTR is also out here, and they're pulling apart this brawl as Rampage goes off air. So you kind of...
It's an emptying. It's an emptying of the backstage.
You're kind of interested to see how it's gonna continue on from here, especially with Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston going against each other for the Continental Crown at Revolution. And guys, this is gonna end the AEW Rampage part of our show. Thanks for tuning in. As always, we're gonna end the show the way we always do. We're gonna give you a little bit of On This Day in Wrestling History. And on this day in wrestling history, February 26th, 2002, on a taping of Smackdown, right near us in Boston, Massachusetts, Goldust, the Natural Dustin Rhodes, Goldust defeated Maven to win the WWF Hardcore Championship. Man, do I really miss that title.
Me too. And on this day in wrestling history, February 26th, 2000, in a title versus career match for the WCW Television Championship. This Television Championship has been around for a while.
Sure has.
It was Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Lord Steven Regal. Hacksaw Jim Duggan beat Lord Steven Regal, which eventually sent him back to WWE, which is probably where he was going and why they did it in the first place.
100%. And on this day in wrestling history, in 1967, Vern Gagne wins his 8th AWA World Heavyweight title with a win over Mad Dog Vachon, who was actually the father of Luna Vachon. Ooh, yes. So she was part of a wrestling family as well. Vern Gagne, 1967, today, the 26th of February, wins his 8th AWA World Heavyweight Championship in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's going to do it for this episode of The Source Podcast. We really appreciate you guys listening.
Yeah.
Please follow the show. Yeah. Please rate the show. Yeah. It really helps the show a lot. The Source Wrestling Podcast is available on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Instagram, and TikTok. Once again, you are now listening to The Source WWE, AEW, All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
and Mike.
Yeah. Let us talk to you next time. Yeah.